The 3D rendering has received some attention in EnRoute 5, and you'll notice some improvements right away when you go to do some rendering. To show an example of this, I'm going to take some toolpaths that I have on screen, and I just have some text with a 3D clean pass around the text and then an island fill in between. So I'm going to have a flat background with some beveled engraving around the edges. So I'm going to select my outer geometry here, or I could just use my plate size and not select any geometry. Go to Simulate 3D, and I have a few options here. I have my resolution, which I'm going to leave under 100 here, but to give myself a decent view of the rendered image. I'm going to uncheck animation, which is an option just to allow me to go as fast as possible. If I want to slow things down a fair amount, I can watch the tool animate a little bit, but I'd rather go as fast as possible here. And I'm going to use the tool color in this example. So I'm going to see areas where the clean tool is used will be one color, the end mill or the flat part another color. And finally, don't have any other settings here to worry about. I could save this simulation as a relief, but I'm not going to do that. And I'll hit OK, and we'll shade the view here. And I'll say go to the first tool. And so this is going to use my 3/8" end mill. And let's go to the next tool change here, actually. I could step through one tool lift at a time, or I'll go all the way to the first tool change. And one of the things we'll notice is that you can pan and zoom and change your perspective view, and EnRoute does not change to a wireframe. So it's real-time panning and zooming. Another thing we can do here is we'll go to the next tool here, is to notice that it's going to be a little bit faster, and particularly if you have a video card that has some memory to it, that memory will be utilized and will speed up the rendering process. So here we've stepped all the way through the parts, and if I zoom in here, I'll see that the shading is nice and changes nicely when I rotate the part around, and we can see that the different colors of the tools, the green for the tapered bit that did my clean out pass and a little bit of a fine tool, and the 1/8" end mill and the flat end mill were both blue tools, so everywhere they cut will show up as blue. Now we also have here another option, and if I hit F12, let's go here to the window view and open up the shell program. And here's another rendering I'm going to do. Now, of course, whenever you're in perspective view, if I just turn off my toolpaths here for a second, and let's go and turn on the rendered view, we can see that in this view we will also be able to render the part and pan and scale around without having it go to wireframe. I can still see the surface, and it will do the nicer shading there. Now let's go ahead and go here to this 3D simulation, and in this case I'm going to use the selected color, which is the material color here, and we'll go to the first tool lift. And we see here we're doing a step rough. But the new rendering is a real nice way to view and preview the part and make sure you're going to get the desired result. So here we see it's still doing a little bit of a step rough here. And now it's actually followed the surface with a rough pass that more closely follows the relief. And now we'll use a ball nose tool here to create the finished 3D part. And as I rotate things, it'll update the rendering here. And we'll see just that it just does give a nice cleaner result. So rendering enhancements include just a faster overall time, real-time panning and moving around, and a nicer shading effect. Now there might be some circumstances where you find that the shading on EnRoute, because they are a little different, on the EnRoute 4 works a little differently. If we go here to the view menu and go to display, the view menu will take you to the preferences, and then go to the display tab. We'll see there's some different rendering options here. So if you're not getting quite the result you're looking for, you can try OpenGL Level 2, which is the rendering from EnRoute 4. It shaded things slightly differently. And OpenGL Level 1 is the same as EnRoute 4 with a faster refresh rate, which fixed an issue on certain computers. And finally, the Windows graphics, which is a built-in rendering in EnRoute. If you're just having a conflict with OpenGL, you can go to this method and you'll use EnRoute's own internal rendering. But OpenGL Level 3 has been a very nice improvement in terms of rendering for EnRoute 5 software. And we'll just turn this on one last time. so we can see the rendered view here.